G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the death cards that are coming in version 42. Once again, I did not have access to the version 42 test environment, so we're going off of the leaked images. Some of these cards may change a little bit, and as you can see by the card in the background, there are some abilities that are on these that are not actually listed. But we're still going to go over them. We're going to talk about how good they possibly are, who they could be used for, and give just my general opinion on the card. So we're going to go straight into it, starting with Woundseeker. Woundseeker is a 6 agility, 2 vitality cost card. Comes with 16 power and 18 attack speed, and the only listed ability here is Hunter's Pierce, which ignores basic armor against critically wounded targets. Critically wounded, when you are playing the game and you get down to low health and your screen starts to flash red, that is when you're critically wounded. We've had cards like this before. They can be quite good. Generally, this would only really be good, again, to finish off that carry that's got a lot of basic armor, or the jungler that's building a lot of basic armor, because basic armor comes from agility. So the people that are more so going to spec into it are going to be your carries and your junglers, your fighters. I don't tend to find these to be very, very useful, but we'll have to wait and see in version 42 how prominent armor actually ends up being, with everyone automatically speccing into it, and see how good it can be then. And I cannot scroll to save my life. Next up we have Withering Shadow. It's a 9 vitality, 3 intellect cost, so it's quite expensive. That is 12,000 gold worth of attribute points. Comes with 20 power and 395 health, which is pretty good. And it has blood damage aura. It's a toggle ability that deals 125 ability damage per second to yourself and nearby enemy units. So I actually think that this would be good on Zincs, provided you can land all your shots with Zincs and just keep dealing damage. You're going to be dealing 125 ability damage to them, but you're actually going to be healing for half of that damage. So it could potentially be alright. Or other than that, just on a very, very tanky jungler. It's a very, very niche card. I don't think a lot of people are going to tend to spec into it within the first, say, week of the game. A lot of people are going to look at cards like this that cause you to take damage as a bad thing and not want to give them a go. But I actually think that this card could actually be quite prominent in the months to come. With some of the really, really good Several junglers, for example, or Rampage junglers. Next up we have Wicked Riposte. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. It's 2 agility, 5 vitality card, so it's 7,000 gold worth of attribute points. Comes with 6 power and 36 ability armor, which is very nice. An Unstable Purification, which is purify yourself and deal damage to nearby enemies based on how many debuffs were removed. 90-second cooldown, costs 50 mana. So debuffs are anything like Silence, Moragesh's Hive is a debuff. There's lots of debuffs in the game. It's the same sort of thing with the last card. I think this could be extremely strong. For a tank being able to take a lot of hits and debuffs off of players and then removing them to apply damage, but it's kind of niche. It's going to depend on whether any of those heroes are actually playing in that match, and it's reasonably expensive. It's not too expensive, but I think it's a good card, and given the right circumstances, I think it could do quite well. Warlocks Burden. It's 3 vitality and 3 intellect cost card. It gives you 250 health, and it gives you Sacrificial Mage. It's toggle ability. You lose 3% of your max health and restore 2% of your max mana every second. So this is kind of a little bit iffy. It definitely could be good, don't get me wrong. Once again, I kind of think it'd be sort of like better on someone like Several or Rampage, or someone like that ran out of mana in a team fight. They still have plenty of health, and they could do with getting themselves a bit of mana to ult again, or to subjugate, or something along those lines, or even a tanky support. I don't think there's going to be too many support players running death, but I actually have a couple of builds in mind using death for supports. So we'll have to wait and see how good this card actually is. Next up we have Veil Stepper. This is going to be very, very, very popular. It comes with 8 health regen and 18 basic armor. It costs 4 agility and 2 vitality. So anyone from a carry to a fighter, even a caster, you know, like anyone would end up being able to afford this. But this is going to be the jungler's bread and butter. Pretty much no matter where they're coming from in the jungle, they're going to be going through a shadow, a fog wall. And they're going to enter the shadow plane for 3 seconds after passing through it with a 5-second cooldown. So it's stupid good. As I said, it's going to be very, very prominent on junglers, but I'm interested to see just how many people that are not running jungler actually use this card in their builds. Very, very good card. Next up we have Vampiric Blade. 17 power and 11 attack speed. Costs 6 agility and 4 vitality. Once again, this is another card that doesn't actually list. It actually lists 2 abilities, but I believe the lifesteal is just there because it's part of Overflowing Beast. Overflowing Feast. You gain 200% lifesteal for 4 seconds. That's pretty dope, in my opinion. That's another reason why I think that Chaos and Death carry builds are actually going to be pretty decent. You're obviously going to be speccing into agility as a carry, and 4 vitality is not that much to actually spec into, but apart from that it's going to be really, really good for your tanky jungler. Jumping in, getting 200% lifesteal for 4 seconds is going to be incredible. You're going to keep them alive just that little bit longer. Next up we have Turncoat Rogue. I love the art on this card. It gives you 12 power, 15 attack speed and shredding strikes for 2 agility and 6 vitality. Basic attacks remove 2 basic armor from target for 6 seconds. Stacks up to 10 times. This is actually pretty decent because if it's stacking up to 10 times you can take 20 basic armor off of a target, and as we've said, agility gives you basic armor as you level up, so there's definitely going to be armor for you to take off. It's going to be good against carries and against your junglers, probably most of your offlaners as well. Pretty much anyone, because I would assume that just about everyone, except for maybe the support, unless they had to spec into a card, would be running at least 2 agility. There's no reason not to. So it's a pretty good card. How prominent it's going to be, I do not know, but it's definitely something that could be extremely useful. I don't really see people running these sorts of cards at the very start of the game. A lot of people are going to go for the more simplistic cards that you know, do something very, very specific and make them stronger. They're not really going to be going into things that apply debuffs or reduce armor and stuff for a little while, so I don't think it'll be very popular to start off with. Then we have Tower Strider. It's a 1 vitality cost card, and it gives you Structure Rush, plus 90 movement speed when near structures. It's very cheap and very, very niche, obviously, because you've got to be near structures. I'm thinking that this is probably better for, say, an offlaner or maybe a mid laner towards the start of the game. So if they do push out and they need to get back, they can get back quicker. Apart from that, I can't really think of many great uses for this card, but I'm sure some people will make good use of it. Next up we have Taskmaster. So Taskmaster costs 1,000 gold, and it gives you Cannibalized Minion. Sacrifice an allied minion, regenerate health equal to 15% of its current health with a 100-second cooldown, and it costs 50 mana. It doesn't actually seem like it would be that good. It does only cost 1,000 gold, so it's not that expensive. And as things are right now, minions tend to have around about 600 health, but minions are being buffed in version 42, so if we were to assume that they have 1,000 health, that's 150 health back every 100 seconds, so it's not too bad. And considering you're not going to have running death, you're not really going to have the greatest list of consumables, because you're not going to have any. This is actually probably not that bad of an option. Definitely really good artwork on it though. So next up we have Swamp Stalker, 13 power, 11 attack speed, and it costs 7 agility. Comes with Isolate. I'm not 100% certain on how this card actually works. It's deal 35 bonus basic damage to enemy units without a nearby ally. I am under the assumption that this means that they don't have an ally, so therefore it would be good against the offlaner or against the mid laner, or perhaps against the enemy jungler if you were going to invade. But I'm not 100% certain, so I'm not going to speculate. But either way, whether it's you get bonus damage when they don't have an ally or you don't have an ally, it's definitely going to be strong. Next up we have Soreback Initiate. Comes with 410 health and 48 ability armor. It's a very, very strong card. But it is a 10 vitality and 3 intellect cost, so it's quite expensive for that 410 health and 48 armor. And it comes with Sacrificial Link. Create a link with enemy hero. Both heroes take 8% max health and ability damage per second. Continues until link is broken by distance or stun. 35-second cooldown and costs 50 mana. Once again, this is going to be a very, very good card for the very, very tanky junglers. Imagine someone like Rampage that is able to heal through all this damage that they're taking while they're tethered to someone else. And if you can imagine that, I'm sure you know how strong this card could potentially be. Next up we have Shadow Dancer. 14 power, 24 basic armor, it costs 3 vitality and 6 intellect. Gives you Shadow Ambush, enter Shadow Plane and gain 50 movement speed for 15 seconds. Attacking an enemy from the Shadow Plane applies a 200 movement speed slow for 3 seconds. 35-second cooldown, costs 50 mana. This is actually going to be pretty strong. Anything I feel like that allows you to go into the Shadow Plane is going to be quite strong. I know a lot of people are sort of saying that they're gonna have wards on pretty much all of their build, but give it a week and that mentality is going to go out the window. I'm quite certain. Not many people are going to run wards. It's just not going to be a thing unless it's in competitive play perhaps. So this card I think could actually be extremely strong as long as you can follow up after its use. Next up, Possessed Spryken. It's 6 power and 120 health for 3 vitality. Gives you regeneration where you gain 12.5 health regen. And obviously for 3 points it's going to be a bit of an early game card. Having that 12.5 health regen is really, really good. It does have Parasite on it. I'm not sure exactly what Parasite is, but considering the fact that they have cursed cards which are stuck to your deck once you use them, I think this actually gives you negative effects at certain points, but speculation again because I've not played version 42, so I'm just going to leave it there. Next up we have Plague Lord Nolength. 17 power, 290 health and 170 mana with Blight Aura, which gives you nearby enemy heroes have Blight. So we all know how Blight works. It reduces healing. It costs 4 vitality and 8 intellect. It's definitely going to be a very, very good card. Blight is quite popular, and it'll probably be popular again with the resurgence of Narbash and the prominence of phase and any amounts of lifesteal that we have when the game gets into version 42. Blight has always been a thing and will always be a thing. Nameless Curse gives you 15 power, 125 mana and 1 mana regen. Comes with Toxin. Deal 50 damage per second to target enemy for 18 seconds. This damage cannot kill the unit. 80-second cooldown, costs 75 mana. It's 12,000 gold worth of attribute points, 3 vitality and 9 intellect. To deal 50 damage per second to a target enemy for 18 seconds, that is 900 damage. I mean, that 900 damage is probably not going to kill anyone outright anyway at full health, but that is a lot of damage, 900 damage, and considering the fact that You know, you're going to have people like Kalari coming back, you've got Murdoch snipes that are going to be pretty popular, Wraith is pretty popular with his sniping, Moragesh being able to finish people off. There's a lot of people that this could actually work out for, whether they take it themselves or they benefit from someone else having it. I think this could be a very, very strong card. I actually think this would be pretty cool on Wraith. Be a very annoying thing if you were able to come up and do a big hit with a snipe. Go invis and just watch these people until it's time to snipe them again and finish them off. Next up we have Pestilence. It's another Parasite card. I'm going to make the assumption that Parasite is actually cursed, because I have not seen any of the cursed cards yet. Next up we have Pestilence. 480 health and 8 health regen for 5 vitality. Comes with Sacrificial Aura, remove 5% max health per second from yourself and each nearby enemy hero, disabled if no enemy heroes are nearby. So this is pretty mental. It's not a toggle, it's just always on. And I believe that I'm starting to think that Parasite is actually one of the cursed cards. Maybe they just these cards didn't have cursed on them, and they were called Parasite at the time. Kind of sounds right, but that's speculation and I hate doing that. So this would be always active and only remove your health and other people's health if you were nearby enemy heroes. So this I actually think would be pretty strong once again on someone like Rampage. To definitely be very strong. Any jungler is going to be slotting into 5 vitality, so any of them could be using it. Then we have Lord Rollstock. 12 power, and it comes with experience. Every 10 seconds gain 12 experience and lose 60 gold. I don't know about that. Getting the experience is a very, very big thing, but losing 60 gold every 10 seconds, that would require you to, you know, be earning way more than 60 gold every 10 seconds, obviously, which you would think everyone should have the ability to do. I'm just not too sure, without being able to play the game myself, how much of a benefit that 12 experience is for the loss of 60 gold. So I'm not sure how popular this card's going to be, but who knows, it could actually be a good thing. Then we have Invader Mage. Gives you 13 power, costs 4 intellect, and it has spell penetration plus 12 ability armor penetration. It's a very cheap card, and it would definitely be good towards the start of the game. I don't really think too many people are sort of going to spec into ability armor, because it is something that only comes off of cards. So who knows exactly how strong it's going to be. Different heroes do have different amounts of ability armor now, so we'll have to wait and see. Guard Piercer, 5 agility cost. Comes with 16 power and armor penetration, so it's going to give you 22 basic armor penetration. That is definitely something that you could do with, because as I said, it's going to help against a carry or a jungler or perhaps an offlaner. I'm sure you know how handy that could be, and apparently my internet's going really slow. I love the artwork on this card. Grinning Specter, I'm not too sure about it though. 25 power, 195 mana, and Creeping Death. Target an enemy hero, launching a slow moving projectile that deals 300 true damage. True damage meaning that it is not affected by armor. If this brings enemies below 15% max health, they are executed. Okay, so it's got a 60-second cooldown, costs 50 mana. It's very, very cheap on the mana cost. It does, however, cost 13,000 gold worth of intellect. I'm not sure how easy this is to target someone, or where you have to be able to target them. I'm assuming there is a range on this, and sight is needed. It does sound very, very strong though. Once again, for someone that's sort of in the shadow plane, could make very good use of this. Someone like Kalari or Wraith could make very good use of that. Then we have Finder of Playthings, 10 power and 1 mana regen, costs 2 vitality and 4 intellect. It comes with Unholy Gaze. Reveal all enemy heroes for 6 seconds. Target enemy hero to reduce attack speed by 30 and movement speed by 100 for 2.5 seconds. It's got a 1.5-minute cooldown and it costs 50 mana. It definitely could be very, very handy with, as I've stated, I believe there's going to be a very, very big lack of rewards. And having Wraith, I feel like is still going to be a pretty big part of the game, probably bigger. This could definitely be an extremely strong card as a means to deal with him. Revealing all the enemy heroes and then being able to pick, say, the carry to reduce their attack speed so that their DPS is lower. Then we have Devastation. It's gives you 7 power and it has Ruin power. You gain 3 power when an enemy structure is destroyed, and that is flat power. But I don't really see this as being that strong because, I mean, how many structures are they going to get rid of? You know, there's only 9, so that's 27 power possible. It is very, very cheap though, so who knows? It could be worthwhile grabbing this, but I don't really think it's going to be that strong. One that I do actually like is Cull the Weak. Basic attacks execute enemy minions below 20% max health. It's 1 agility cost. This is going to be amazing on junglers. Just being able to execute an enemy minion that's below 20% max health. It's going to be very, very handy for taking out anything. You know, it's going to be very, very good to get rid of that siege minion. Did I say jungler? I mean offlaner. It's going to be something very, very good. So next up we have Cull the Weak. It is very cheap, 1 agility, and it's execute minions. Basic attacks execute enemy minions below 20% max health. So this means that anytime you attack a minion with a basic attack and it's below 20% max health, it gets executed. Whether you get the CXP for that, I am guessing yes, and just as much experience as you would have. So this could be an extremely strong card considering how cheap it is. You're going to have it at the early game. It would probably be very good for an offlaner, I'm thinking, because when they get on the tower, you know, you're going to be able to, you know how hard it is to get last hits on minions that are on your tower. I think it could be very, very good. Definitely could be very good for a jungler as well, because they're, you know, they should be rotating and holding lanes whenever they have to. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see how strong that is. Definitely going to be good for an offlaner, I feel like. Awaken the Merrick, 17 power and 8 health regeneration. Comes with Toxic Horde, which converts all nearby minions to your team and grants all nearby minions Death Touch and Drain Life. 60-second cooldown and costs 50 mana. This is a card that I actually think is going to get nerfed because I have seen footage of Wukong using it. So it costs 4 vitality and 6 intellect, and what it's saying is that when you are pushing a wave down a lane and you come in contact with an enemy wave, you can use this and turn all the enemy minions into allied minions. It also gives all the nearby minions Death Touch, which means that they will one-shot any minion. So the next time they come in, what I would tend to do is have 2 waves meet up. They're pretty evenly matched. If you were to flip them and use this card, you would then have 2 waves of minions that are yours. Then they would push forward and hopefully still have Death Touch. They would one-shot every other minion in the enemy wave that they're coming against. They will also have Drain Life, which I assume is going to heal them up. 60-second cooldown. You can imagine just how strong this is. It's going to be very, very good for a lot of the offlaners that don't necessarily have the biggest wave clear. I feel like whether they were going to run Death or not is a different story, but I feel like people like Steel, who run a little bit tanky later on, or Zinx, who doesn't have the best wave clear, could really do with using this card. And I think a lot of people are actually going to use it. I intend to give it a good go on my Iggy build. I just think it would be amazing to not only have all your turrets set up and your ultimate to be able to go off, but to be able to flip the enemy wave into your favor and have 2 waves attacking the enemy heroes. So that is it. Tomorrow and the next couple of days we'll go over the rest of the cards. I know this was a bit dodgy this time, but I have not had much sleep and I'm very, very tired. But if you got to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I love your face. If you have any questions whatsoever, leave them in the comment section down below. Leave me a like if you enjoyed the video. Once version 42 drops, I'll be going over everything from start to finish to do with the game. We'll be doing beginner's guides on how the actual card system works, how itemization in general works, gems, all of that stuff, how to build a deck, what all the roles are, what you should be doing in each role, you know, how to offlane, how to mid lane, how to play carry, all that sort of stuff, and starting fresh and teaching everything again. So we'll be going over how to split push, how to stack waves, how to slow push, how to freeze off lanes, this, that, and the other. So stay tuned for all that. That's coming very soon. I'm very much looking forward to version 42, and I'm sure you are as well. So like I already said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.